Gävle is a city in Sweden, the seat of Gävle Municipality and the capital of Gävleborg County. It had 71,033 inhabitants in December 2010, which makes it the 13th most populated city in Sweden. It is the oldest city in the historical Norrland, having received its charter in 1446 from Christopher of Bavaria. However, Gävle is far nearer the greater Stockholm region than it is to the other major settlements in Norrland. In recent years, the city has received a lot of international attention due to its large Yule goat figure made of straw, the Gävle goat. The goat is erected in December each year and is subsequently, more often than not, subject to vandalization by someone setting it on fire. The goat has now become a symbol for the city and is being used for various marketing purposes. History. It is believed that the name Gävle derives from the word gavel, meaning river banks in Old Swedish and referring to the Gävlean. The oldest settlement was called Gävleägarna, which means gavel owners. This name was shortened to Gävle, then Gävle, and finally Gävle. Gävle is first mentioned as a town in official history books in the year 1413, but only received its official town charters in the year 1446. For a long time Gävle consisted solely of small, low, turf or shingle-roofed wooden buildings. Boat houses lined the banks of Gävlean, Lillin, and Islands Ann. Until the 18th century the town was built, as was the practice then, around the three most important buildings: the church, the regional palace, and the town hall. Over the last 300 years Gävle has been ablaze on 3 different occasions. After the fire of 1776 the town was rebuilt with straight streets and rectangular city blocks. The number of stone and brick houses also started to increase. The biggest town fire occurred 1869, when out of a population of around 10,000 approximately 8,000 inhabitants lost their homes, and about 350 farms were destroyed. Almost the whole town north of Gävlean was burned down. All the buildings south of Gävlean were saved. An area of the old town between the museum and a library has been preserved to this day as a historic reserve, Gamla Gävle. After the catastrophe of the fire, Gävle developed its characteristic grid plan with large esplanades and green areas. It is now a green town with wide avenues. Stopping the spread of future town fires was the main idea behind this development. An extensive redevelopment of the central town area was started during the 1950s. Around 1970 Gävle became a large urban district when it was united with the nearby municipalities of Valbo, Ham Range, Hedesunda, and Hill. New suburbs like Stigsland, Sätra, Andersburg, and Bomhus have grown up around the central city. Geography. Gävle is situated by the Baltic Sea near the mouth of the river Dalälven, at 60 degrees north and 17 degrees east. Gävle has the same latitude as Helsinki and the same longitude as Vienna and Cape Town. Bordering municipalities are Söderhamn, Ockelbo, Sandviken, Heby, Tierp and Älvkarleby. 20 kilometers west of Gävle lies Sandviken. Climate. Gävle has a similar climate to the rest of central Sweden, with an average temperature of around -4 degrees Celsius in January and 17 degrees Celsius in July. Yearly rainfall is around 600 mm. Under the Köppen climate classification, Gävle is classified as humid continental, in spite of the significant maritime influence. It is also one of the northernmost cities by significant size in the world with this climate type. Since areas north of the 60th parallel for the most part is dominated by various subarctic climate types. Under the 1961 to 1990 normals, Gävle's 4th warmest month was just around the isotherm of 10 degrees Celsius to not be classified as subarctic, but temperatures did go up sufficiently to be clear humid continental since. Economy. Trade from the port of Gävle increased markedly during the 15th century when copper and iron began to be exported from the port. In order to ensure that all trade was via Stockholm, sailing to foreign ports from Gävle and a few other ports was forbidden. During the 16th century, Gävle was one of the most important port and merchant towns with many shipping companies and shipyards. In 1787, Gävle was awarded free and unrestricted sailing rights to and from foreign ports. This led to an increase in trade, which in turn led to an increase in buildings, industrial developments, trade and shipping. Today there are few shipping companies or shipyards left, but an important port remains. It has over 1,000 ships calling per year and is among the top 10 common ports in Sweden. Major companies: Billerud Korsnäs, Kraft General Food Scandinavia, Leif AB, Gävle Galvan, Gävle Stahl, Gävle Varv, Kale Industry. Demography, culture. Gävle has, considering its size, a large and well-nourished cultural life, being a cradle for many musicians such as the Deer Tracks and the Sound of Arrows. The city applied for becoming the European Capital of Culture in 2014. Arts and museums: the Prison Museum of Sweden, the County Museum of Gävleborg, and the National Railway Museum are the three largest museums in the city. The Prison Museum is located near Gävle Castle and depicts the history of crime and punishment in Sweden. The County Museum hosts an art collection spanning from the 1600s to present time, as well as a section dedicated to cultural history. Finally, the Swedish Railway Museum hosts a collection that began to accumulate in 1906 in Stockholm and which was moved to Gävle in 1970. Gävle has a theatre dating back to the 1800s. It is still used for performances today, including classic theatre, opera, variety, and stand-up. There is also a concert hall in Gävle which was inaugurated in 1998. It is home to the 1912 Gävle Symphony Orchestra, which principal conductor is Jamie Martin. Media: Gävle Dagblad, founded in 1895, and Arbetarbladet are the two leading media outlets covering Gävle in the papers. Both have a long history dating back to the early 1900s and the late 1800s, respectively. Aside from this, the Swedish national public TV broadcaster, SVT, has an editorial office in the city, and the national public radio Sveriges Radio broadcasts from the city. Sports: Gävle has teams competing in the highest national league in football as well as ice hockey and floorball. Education: the University College of Gävle currently enrolls 14,500 students. It offers over 800 courses and 45 degree programs in technology, social and natural sciences and the humanities. Its research profiles are built environment and health in working life. Some courses are offered in English and are taken by both international and Swedish students. Miscellanea: Gävle is known for being the birthplace of the Gävle coffee brand, which is produced by Kraft General Food Scandinavia and exported around the globe. Gävle is particularly popular in the Americas and produces dozens of unique flavored coffees for the United States that are not available to its customers in Europe. However, visitors who come to the factory in Gävle can sample many of the premium blends. Other brands from Gävle include the throat lozenges Lake Roll and the car-shaped sweet Salgrensbilla. Gävle preserves the memory of the Swedish-American labor activist and martyr Joel Emanuel Hagelund, better known as Joe Hill, who was born there in 1879. The Hagelund family home still stands in Gävle at the address Nederbergsgatan 28 in Gamlestan, the Old Town. As of 2011, it houses a museum and a Joe Hill garden, which hosts cultural events. Gävle Goat: the history of the Gävle Goat began in 1966. Stig Gävle Acute and came up with the idea of placing a giant version of the traditional Swedish Christmas goat of straw in Slottsstiche in central Gävle. On the 1st of December, the 13-meter-tall, 7-meter-long, 3-ton goat was erected on the square. At midnight on New Year's Eve, the goat went up in flames. The goat has since had a history of being burnt almost every year, 2005 being the 22nd time it was burnt. Burning the goat is an illegal act and not welcomed by most citizens of Gävle, but undoubtedly this is what has made the goat famous. In 2006, the goat was covered in a flame-resistant coating to prevent arson, enabling the goat to remain standing throughout that winter. On December 27, 2015, the goat was burnt for the 28th time. Notable people: Eric Wickberg, former General of the Salvation Army and former Chief of the Staff of the Salvation Army; Andreas Rudman, pioneer Swedish-American Lutheran minister; Nils Norén, Alexandra Dahlstrom, Christian Edström, Anders Eklund, Hill, Cat Stevens. His mother Ingrid Wickman was from Gävle, and he also lived here for some time during his childhood. Joakim Sundström, Swedish sound editor, sound designer and musician. E.W.A. Matteo Lawrence, Jacob Markström, Rolf Lashgård, Ake Friedel, Thomas Dilover, Niklas Backström, Jat Malmgren, Anders Lindback, Jacob Silfverberg, NHL player for the Anaheim Ducks; Elias Lindholm, Siri Anderson Palmer, staff writer. European cooperation. Gävle is a member city of Eurotowns network. Hospital. Gävle Hospital has approximately 300 physicians, and serves an area of approximately 150,000 people. It has a center for clinical research in cooperation with Uppsala University. Twin towns. Sister cities. Gävle is twinned with 5 cities: Jurmala, Latvia; Galva, Illinois, United States; Novstved, Denmark; Rauma, Finland; Gorvik, Norway;